Watch what's approaching, the supreme moment. Reality striking closer than it seems, don't it? Go ahead, it's for the taking if you want it. If not, the dream dies and you'll be forever haunted. Then confront it.
What's good? So we're back on the new stages for the Infinite Dragon Ball History event, and for this one we're going into the Vegeta's family stage. Again, if you caught the last video, it's pretty much similar to, in terms of team building, the last video against the Goku's family stage. Basically the transformation boost team setup with the transforming cooler units as leads. It just, honestly, like I said in the last video, it's just such an efficient team and a well balanced out team that I love running the setup, and it works out quite well for a setting like this. The biggest MVP out of the group, I think, is the transforming cooler unit. Once you get that guy to transform, again, I've talked about this in the last video, but for those that missed it, we'll go ahead and repeat it. But this guy has built-in abilities with the passive of, getting the built-in additional attacks, potentially becoming a super attack. Along with that, you have the guaranteed crits against pure Saiyans or hybrid Saiyans type enemies. So this is like an ideal stage setting for that type of guy, you know what I mean? So he's straight up killing it. But outside of that, the other units do quite well as well. Janemba, obviously a very good tank. I mean, along with being a hell of a defensive unit, that guy can produce some tremendous attack stats and output or damage itself. Gogeta Blue obviously is also very good. Again, this guy can get guaranteed crits after the transformation. Prior to that, you have the effectively attack against all types. Along with that, you do have a medium chance to evade attacks, and then after the transformation, this guy has a high chance to dodge enemy attacks, so works quite well there. And then, of course, you have the two other defensive units, but also attack-oriented as well. It depends on the way you look at it, but from this sense, I treat them as more or less defensive units. I'm talking about the Tech Transforming Trunks as well as the Agility LR Super Saiyan Gohan unit. Those guys are able to raise defense with every super attack. In Trunks' case, he's able to do that for both attack and defense. But the priority for this on this team build is for these guys, or those guys, to be able to build up their defense and literally take no damage based on even if it's a super attack or not. So that's really where the focus is on those two units. Again, the Transforming Goku Black also does greatly raise defense. This guy is a little bit of kind of a weird one, because I've been treating this guy as a floater pretty much on both of the runs that I've tested, but he still has the ability to raise defense, so it does help out in some cases. So along with that, again, this guy does have built-in passives of getting criticals, so that also does help quite a bit. Alright, so that's pretty much the team setup. So with this particular stage, there are certain cases where it's a little bit annoying, because certain enemies will lock your character positions, and for me it's annoying as shit, because I like to run a team with units on a certain rotation and kind of maintain that. So it pretty much breaks the balance by having enemies that do that. Along with that fact, I mean, you have only 2 items that you can use, and from my standpoint, I like to have an insurance policy of bringing in HP recovering items along with a combination of either defense raising or damage reducing capabilities. I think on this run, I brought the typical items, Android 8 and the Princess Snake, or whatever the name was for that. So Android 8 has the 70% HP recovery and reduces defense, or increases defense by 50%, I believe. And then for the Snake Princess, it's what was it? What was the HP recovery? It was like 50% or 60% HP recovery and 30% damage reduction. I can't believe I can't remember the. Actually, I think it was 55% HP recovery and then 30% damage reduction. I don't know. It's been a long day, so my brain's kind of dead right now because it's the holidays. I tend to like shut down pretty bad during the holidays, because with work you're always all over the place and working like crazy or whatever, and then the holidays come and you're pretty much like in chill zone 24/7 type deal. So yeah, I think it was 55% HP recovery, damage reduction of 30% for 1 turn. In Android 8's case, you do get 2 turns benefit out of that, so just clarify that. So again, I think this Vegeta right here, the Agility Vegeta, is kind of a bitch sometimes. I've ran this and tested it a couple times, and depending on how your rotation's set up, yeah, this guy can be a little bit of a pain. Considering I have 2 Transforming Cooler units, yeah, it can be a little bit of a pain, but I think, you know, by using items or whatever the case is, it's not really that big of a deal. I just found it annoying a little bit because there are a lot of attacks that came about from this guy, but it is what it is. I mean, it's not terrible by any means, but it can certainly be a little bit annoying. I think there's like 6 or 7 total attacks just from one rotation, so you are looking at quite a bit of damage taken if you're not careful. That's probably the best way to summarize it. So again, we'll try and stack up Goku Black's defense as much as possible as a floater. Again, it's a little bit limited since, you know, you're essentially missing out on a rotation. Like, he's not going to be on rotation as much as the other 2 guys or other 4 units that are maintaining the first rotation and second rotation setup. So that's the problem with floaters, that stack attack or defense or a combination of both. You're not going to benefit from that as much unless you're putting in the first or second rotation. That's probably the key takeaway with that. But again, he does greatly raise defense with every super attack, so given that, I mean, even as a floater, there's enough beneficial value of including him on the team. That's pretty much why he's there. I talked about this in the last video, but yeah, you could essentially run a, you know, floater type support unit. I thought about it, but I decided to just go with a self-sufficient team without support pretty much. That's really, I mean, I don't really consider Cooler a support unit because after the transformation, he's not providing any support allies or anything. So that's, you know, that's a clear distinction in my definition for that. So a lot of things are working out in our favor here. A lot of super attacks tended to go toward Janemba. Obviously, whenever they go toward Janemba, I'm not really concerned because he can tank it, and it also does have a medium chance of evade attacks, so it's really not worrisome whatsoever. And then you've also got Cooler coming up, you know, with the guaranteed crits against Pure Saiyans and Hybrid Saiyans, so that makes life a hell of a lot easier. Built-in additionals, and along with that, if you have potential levels built in as well toward additional attack, you're looking at a pretty hefty amount of damage per rotation, and it does make a hell of a difference. So I think a lot of the benefit of this team is guaranteed crits. At least 3 units have that. Along with that, you have Goku Black here that also has built-in critical hits ability. So a lot of like damage producing capabilities. And then you have like defensive units that can also produce pretty good offensive numbers as well. So again, I love the setup. It's a very good team. It's balanced as hell, and yeah, I wouldn't say it's a low risk, but it's certainly very stable, I guess is probably the right word for it. So I enjoyed it a lot. I don't know, you guys tell me. I'm guessing a lot of you guys probably ran variations. Maybe some of you guys ran this sort of team. Maybe you guys went with a Goku's family setup or a Vegeta's family setup or movie bosses or whatever the case is. Maybe the brand new setups with the Super Saiyan 2 category plus Resurrected Warriors, or the Otherworld Warriors plus Super Saiyan 3 combination. So it's an interesting setup, but it makes sense, you know, like Super Saiyan 3 going with the Otherworld Warriors because the leader for that is the transforming Super Saiyan 2 Goku or Super Saiyan 3 Goku. I mean, it only makes sense, I guess, in that regard. And for the Majin Vegeta unit, is actually nice because by having Resurrected Warriors as the secondary leader skill, you can actually include Android 16. So when the Agility LR Super Saiyan Gohan is not facing an Android type enemy, you certainly have the ability to get that transformation in. So that's one good thing about the Majin Vegeta's leader skill setup. That's definitely very beneficial for that particular unit. Yeah, I mean, pretty much Cooler is like clearing the path every time. Again, those guaranteed crits make a hell of a difference, and yeah, it's nice as hell seeing that. I mean, it's just so nice to see crits all the time with additionals kicking in. You know, I'm loving it. You know what I mean? I'm not McDonald's or anything, but I'm definitely loving that shit. So in this case, like, I was like, should I give it to Gogeta Blue for the Dokkan mode attack? But I didn't want to break the rotation between Gohan and Trunks, so I was like, you know, Gohan can produce enough damage, even with the 12 key, we're fine. I mean, you know, I'm not really worried about anything at this point. We have plenty of items that we haven't used yet, and these guys can defend very well. I mean, it's a strength type enemy, so all these guys should be able to tank the incoming attacks. I mean, very, very easily. So I wasn't worried about it at this point, and like pretty much HP is not struggling, so it's not like I had to maximize the HP recovery coming up in the next rotation from whatever was applied with the Dokkan mode attack. So at this point, I was like, you know, Vegeta probably could have produced better numbers potentially, but it's okay. We'll leave it to Gohan because I didn't want to break the cycle. Okay, so we've got Goku Black, Transforming Cooler, and Janemba. You know, I think the obvious choice here is go with Janemba, where all the attacks are coming up. And then whatever HP is left over with Trunks, Cooler will pretty much take care of it. Goku Black will not. He won't even have the chance to attack on this rotation. Pretty much done for. But Janemba was like, I gotta show off here. So he's like, I'm not gonna let that motherfucker shine as much as he is. So I guess he wanted that double attack to kick in. So this is an interesting one right here. If you're wondering why the HP bars are so low for Blah, it's because she super attacks every single time she attacks. So I'm pretty sure that's why. Like, I was wondering, I was like, why is the HP level so low for this unit? And then I found out after the fact that she supers every time she's up. So you'll see that here. But we're good because we have defensive stacking units, and we're not really worried about it. 120 in damage, that's nothing, right? And then even the Agility LR Super Saiyan Gohan unit won't take barely any damage because we've already stacked up defense up to this point. So we're not concerned one bit. And they're stacking as we speak, you know, so it only goes up from there. I can't remember how much in damage he actually took, so this will be interesting to see reflecting back. Yeah, I mean, barely any damage. I mean, that's nothing. And then we'll have, you know, Cooler. That was the other thing, right? I think the SA sealed for certain units, so of course, in that case, it was Cooler. In this case, it's Janemba. Not really worried about it because Cooler's pretty much going to finish business here, and whatever fails or whatever HP is left over, Gogeta Blue can finish that off because, you know, that's guaranteed crits on him too. Yeah, this guy definitely does make these runs a lot easier and more efficient. I mean, it's better to get crits than not, you know, that's the way I look at it. So okay, who's up next? I can't remember. So we have the Vegeta Jr. So this should be the last battle here because in the Goku's family setup, Goku Jr. was the last one, and then for this one it is Vegeta Jr. So not really worried. I know there's an attack coming up against the Goku Black, but not really concerned. I mean, we have plenty of HP left over, and the other guys aren't going to take really any damage, so even a super attack against Goku Black, he'll be fine. Like, it'll take a decent amount of HP, but it's not gonna KO the team. So really not concerned at this point yet. Just a matter of how much in damage we can apply per rotation, just to make the run a little bit quicker. You know what I mean? I'm sure there are other teams that you could run that's a lot quicker and applies more damage, but I look at it from more of a stable, you know, balanced team approach versus like quickness. Obviously, I try to go for like a decent speed, but at the same time, I do prefer stability and balance over, you know, purely offensive or whatever the case is. Now, I'm actually curious how much damage he applies here. Probably a good chunk. 3.5, 1.6, and then Janemba will further reduce. I don't know if crit didn't apply, but Cooler here will pretty much finish business, and that's pretty much a wrap. You know what I mean? So very fun team. Again, similar to the one ran on Goku's family. It's the exact same setup, but it's just a lot of fun and very stable. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video as well. And as always, thanks for watching, and I will certainly catch you guys later. All right, peace out.